This is the story of Amaka, the Buns queen of the village. Once upon a time, in the lively village of Umoma, there lived a woman named Amaka who sold the best buns at the bustling market. Her buns were golden brown, soft, and delicious, drawing customers from far and wide. People lined up at her stall, eagerly buying her treats, and she was known as the Buns queen of the village. Amaka had a close friend, Nkechi, who sold rice at a stall nearby. Nkechi was hardworking and sensible. She always wore a simple cloth and carefully budgeted her earnings to support her family. But Amaka was different. She dreamt of attending all the village parties, wearing the finest, most expensive clothes and jewelry. Amaka, Nkechi said one afternoon, "You are spending too much money on fancy clothes just to impress people at parties. Why not save your money for something more important?" Amaka rolled her eyes. "Nkechi, life is too short to look ordinary. I need to stand out." One sunny afternoon, Amaka overheard some women at the market talking about Madam Chinelo's grand birthday party. "Only the most elegant women in town are invited," one woman said, "and everyone must wear expensive Ankara fabric." Amaka's eyes lit up. "I must attend. Everyone will see me in the finest Ankara," she thought, ignoring Nkechi's advice about saving money. Amaka rushed to buy the expensive fabric and had a tailor make a stunning outfit. On the day of the party, Amaka arrived dressed in her finest, mingling with the rich women of the town. She smiled and posed, trying to impress them, though they barely noticed her. A week later, news spread about a wealthy trader's daughter's wedding. The invitation required guests to wear matching lace fabrics that was sold at a high price. Amaka couldn't resist. "Nkechi, I need to look better than anyone at that wedding," she said excitedly. Nkechi sighed. "Amaka, is it really worth it? You are spending too much on things you can't afford." But Amaka ignored her and bought the lace, spending a huge part of her savings at the wedding. She flaunted her dress, hoping to impress the wealthy guests. But then again, no one paid much attention to her. The final straw came when Amaka heard about the Women's Association Gala, the biggest event of the year. Attendees were required to wear imported silk fabric, which cost more than most people's monthly earnings. Determined to outshine everyone, Amaka spent nearly all her savings on the fabric and a pair of glittering shoes to match. She arrived at the gala, but instead of mingling, she found herself sitting alone, watching the wealthy women chatting amongst themselves. Meanwhile, Nkechi stayed at home, saving her money and preparing for the next market day. Soon enough, Amaka realized she had spent all her money on expensive clothes and parties, leaving her with little to reinvest in her buns business. This led her to hatch the greedy plan of using less flour and more yeast, setting off the chain of events that would teach her a lesson of her life. One evening, as Amaka sat in her small kitchen, she had an idea. If I use more yeast and less flour, my buns will look the same size, but it will cost less to make. I will save so much money, she thought with a sly smile. The next day, Amaka put her plan into action. She added extra yeast to her dough and used only a little flour. Her buns puffed up beautifully, looking just as golden and tempting as ever. Customers flocked her stall as usual, and Amaka began saving money to buy more luxurious outfits. At first, no one noticed the difference, but soon, customers began to realize something was wrong. The buns looked the same, but felt unusually light. Some even joked that they could eat 10 buns and still feel hungry. Amaka, one woman said, holding up a bun, "Why are your buns so light these days? They don't taste as good as they used to." Amaka waved her hand dismissively. "It's the same recipe as always. If you don't like it, please go and buy from someone else." Her rude response shocked the customers, and words quickly spread about the change in her buns. Slowly, her once crowded stall became quieter, and fewer people bought from her. The villagers decided to teach Amaka a lesson. One day, they all agreed to stop buying her buns. Amaka's stall sat empty as customers flocked to Nkechi's rice stall and other vendors instead. Days turned into weeks, and Amaka's earnings dwindled. Her fancy clothes and parties suddenly felt meaningless as she struggled to make ends meet. Realizing her mistake, Amaka swallowed her pride and went to Nkechi for advice. "Nkechi," she said with tears in her eyes, "I have ruined everything. My buns were my pride, and now I have lost all my customers. What should I do?" she asked. Nkechi smiled gently. "Amaka, you need to apologize to the villagers and go back to making your buns the right way. Trust is hard to earn, but very easy to lose. Show them that you have learnt your lesson and make things right." The next day, Amaka went around the village, apologizing to everyone for her bad behavior and promising to improve. She returned to her old recipe, using the perfect balance of flour and yeast to make her famous buns. Slowly, her customers returned, and her stall became lively once more. This time, Amaka used her earnings wisely, saving money and learning to live within her means. She no longer cared about attending every party in fancy clothes. She was content with the joy her buns brought to others. From then on, Amaka became not just the buns queen, but also a reminder to everyone at Umoma that greed and shortcuts lead to trouble, while honesty and hard work always wins in the end. And now, to the moral of the story. Honesty is the best policy. Greed and shortcuts often lead to loss. True success comes from earning the trust and respect of others. Living within your means brings peace and happiness. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.